Welcome back to another 2025 NBA mock draft here on the channel. This is the fourth installment where today we're going to be doing a full first round mock draft. In drafts past, we've just been doing the first round NBA lottery, but in this video, we're going to be doing the full first round picks 1 through 30. And especially interesting, we're going to see at what some of these later teams, these later picks, what direction they're going to go to and explore some of the prospects that a lot of people may not know more about. But first, before we get into this episode, I want to please encourage you to go down below and subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, leave a like, as well with share this episode with all of your friends. The past 2025 NBA mock draft videos have gotten over 1,000 views. They have been the 3 highest viewed videos on the channel. I cannot thank you guys enough for your amazing support, and let's go ahead and do it again. Let's get this to at least 1,000 views, and let's go ahead and crank up that like total 10, 15, 20 plus likes, and continue to subscribe. And like always, I want to ask you guys to go ahead and please follow us on all social medias: TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those ads are going to be down below. We're on all of those social medias. You will get to see my reaction to the latest breaking news within the NBA and the NFL. We're in the middle of the NBA Finals. We are just about to get into the NBA offseason. The NBA draft is just in about a week and a half time. NFL training camp is starting, so there's a lot of content rolling out this summer, and I'm super excited to share with you guys. And of course, you will always be notified for whenever the podcast uploads an episode so that you are never late. So please go ahead and follow all of those. Some really great content coming out across the board, as well as the YouTube shorts on this channel, which you will get to see from the TikTok. But without further ado, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and hop into this, the fourth total mock draft for us. And we start right back to the top of the order, number 1 and 2 for the Dallas Mavericks and San Antonio Spurs, respectively. And I'm not going to waste any more time than I normally do. I did this last time with these 2 top picks because they really haven't changed, in my opinion. It's going to be Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper going 1 and 2. Could you potentially see the Spurs going in a different direction? There's obviously the possibility for that because there's a lot of people saying that Dylan Harper obviously isn't the cleanest fit in San Antonio with the point guard depth that they have there. But the dude by far is the most talented at number 2 overall. There's such a huge gap between him and the rest of the draft. And Cooper Flagg, obviously, the overall number 1 overall pick in this draft. Great bridge prospect for a Dallas Mavericks team that is really transitioning between eras. He can help them a lot contending for an NBA championship right now, but could also be their star player going forward. Solid scoring from him, all-around great player, great rim protection down low to pair with Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively. And Dylan Harper, man, another all-around prospect, shoots the ball very well, is able to create his shot at will, and will definitely be able to help this San Antonio offense. So not going to go too much into those guys' profiles. If you want to see more information about that, I would recommend that you go back into previous mock draft episodes because I'm just kind of repeating myself and going through the same thing. At number 3 overall, you have the Philadelphia 76ers. And this has now been a pick that has been pivoting, I think, slowly across the professional analyst board. There was a lot of talk in previous weeks potentially about VJ Edgecombe now going to the Philadelphia 76ers at number 3. CBS Mock Drafts has that listed as their number 3 overall pick now. And he also had a dinner with a lot of the 76ers stars. He had it with their star GM. So he seems to be more of their highlight guy right now. So he's who I'm going to go with at number 3 overall. And really, I could understand that. You don't know how Jared McCain is going to be coming back from injury. You could have more of a stereotypical scoring 2 guard at that number 2 edge with some great athleticism, great ability to defend on VJ Edgecombe's side, can attack the basket at will, shows great athleticism to pair with Tyrese Maxey, but also is able to cover up Maxey's deficiencies when it comes to the defensive end, handles the ball really great, and is a guy that once again could take over for you years ahead next to Tyrese when Embiid and Paul George are potentially gone. Also think that this allows for Jared McCain to, work slowly more into coming back and potentially even play more of a backup point guard role behind Tyrese Maxey and come in and give you some amazing scoring off the bench, where I think he could be suited and used very well. So, despite what people have been saying, I like this pick here for Philly, and I think that it honestly could be a much cleaner fit than Ace Bailey is for them here. Now, unfortunately for Charlotte, this is the pick. VJ was the guy that I had going to them in all of my past mock drafts, and they're going to end up without him in this one, but they still get a pretty solid shooting guard in Trey Johnson at number 4 overall. Not the most athletic compared to Edgecombe, but still a guy who has great length at 6 feet 6 inches tall, still moves well defensively. Like I said, not as great of an athlete, but still has that solid length. And offensively, one of the better overall offensive prospects that we've seen in a very, very long time. A 3-level scorer. The dude can get to the rack. The dude can pull it from the mid-range. The dude can stripe it from behind the three-point line. Creates his shot very well. Is able to get a lot of space when it pertains to hitting counter moves off of the dribble on guys. I mean, the dude just dissects defense. And putting him next to guys who I think have a little more athleticism and have some solid length, like Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball. I still think that Johnson can be suitable to play defense on the 2-guard end, on the opposite end of the ball. So pairing him, Brandon Miller, you have Grant Williams within that lineup, Josh Green, I believe, you have Mark Williams. You're starting to really build a nice defensive front on that side. And once again, Charlotte to me is looked at as one of the most underrated young cores now that they're really beginning to build. And that leaves the Utah Jazz at number 5, and they actually get spoiled here with Ace Bailey at 5th overall. Last episode, we had Bailey. We did a hypothetical situation of Bailey potentially falling, and we had him falling all the way to number 7. I did feel that was a little bit unrealistic, and I understand that I got a little bit of backlash against that. But to be honest, this is a very realistic situation that could happen. Bailey falling to number 5, especially with the huge need of Charlotte needing to go shooting guard at number 4 overall. If Philly decides to go into a different direction, I can almost guarantee that Charlotte would likely look to the remaining 2 guard on the board, and then Ace ends up falling to 5. Which honestly isn't a bad deal for him whatsoever. He's going to get a starting role on the Utah Jazz. This now allows the Jazz to have a lot more flexibility at moving Lauri Markkanen, who is 6 feet 10 inches tall, to his more natural power forward position. You get to use some of Lauri Markkanen's athletic advantages against those slower forwards and allow him to beat those slower power forwards off the dribble on the perimeter. You pair him next to Walker Kessler, so now you have a really, really solid front court. Now you're just hoping that some of those point guards in the backcourt, like Keontae George, like Isaiah Collier, like Colin Sexton, you hope that one of those guys can end up starting to work out and really explode offensively and really give you something to work with. And, they still have some young guys behind that as well. They have guys like Cody Williams, who they drafted last year as well, who still need to, stand out and get more playing time on that wing side. So Utah in the wing department is looking great. Of course, Bailey has a little bit of kinks that you need to work out, especially the defensive inconsistencies. But the dude is a big time shot maker. He will get you going offensively. He's a big-time motor guy. He attacks the rim at will, and he will be solid paired with Lauri to give you a nice 1-2 punch on that offensive end. Then you move to the Washington Wizards at number 6, and my perception of this pick really has not changed. I got Konchavople here at number 6, and I think that's I think that's fair. I understand that they have a lot of depth at the forward position, but I think that Kon can really play anywhere. You could play him as shooting guard if you need to. I think he only sits at about, what does he sit at? 6 foot 7 feet tall. So you could definitely play him at shooting guard 100%. He's a great playmaker out of that 3 or 2 position, able to create shots not only for himself but for his teammates as well. Drives to the hole well, plays solid defense. He's just all around the guy that I think could best plug in day one and start for you and be a big impact player outside of like a Dylan Harper or a Cooper Flagg or even a VJ Edgecombe. He's the next best guy up that I think, has little to no weaknesses on his side. Is he, great at anything? Maybe not. But the dude is still an offensive powerhouse. He does well. He does not get exposed on the defensive end. And for a team like Washington, this now allows you to have Alex Sarr at that 5 position, play him in a better suit where he can just work around the rim, which I think would be great, and still be able to spread the floor and give you some really great 3-point shooting. So I like this pick here for Washington. Number 7 and number 8, respectively. We always go with this one in pairs as well. And it's going to be the same role that the dice that's Caspers, Jack Junis, and Jeremiah Fears. Definitely could see both of these guys switching. It could be, Fears going to New Orleans and Caspers going to Brooklyn. But when it pertains to Caspers going to the New Orleans Pelicans, I like this pick a lot because Jack Junis to me is one of the more versatile prospects within this draft. I think he's somebody that could really play in any real system because he has that European playmaking ability, but he also has the ability to go out and shoot the ball. And with a team like New Orleans that is just so uncertain right now, right? You don't know what's going to happen with Zion Williamson with his off the court issues and with his ability to not stay healthy. Herb Jones and Trey Murphy are likely gone. You have DeJounte Murray coming off of injury. So you really need a guy that you could just really put anywhere. So if DeJounte Murray comes back and he's your big-time superstar and you want him running the offense, Caspers could definitely go out and shoot from the three and be an off-ball guard. But if not, or if Murray needs to take more of a side role, Caspers could definitely go ahead and handle the ball, pair with Yves Missi within the pick and roll, and be able to run that offense. So in any situation, I really think that he could be a valuable addition to that squad. And then number 8 with Jeremiah Fears, I think Brooklyn would be absolutely ecstatic to get him at number 8 overall. I mean, the dude is crafty. He is a dog, attacks the rim a lot. Needs to work on some consistency when it comes to the three-point line. And, of course, sometimes on the defensive end as well. But the dude is a crafty, smaller guard, is able to work his way around. And when you pair him with like a Nick Claxton within the pick and roll, going downhill and attacking that rim, oh my goodness, it's just going to be unstoppable. Number 9 with the Toronto Raptors, Khaman Maluwak at number 9. Again, another very consistent pick here at number 9 for the Toronto Raptors. But again, it just makes sense, right? The defensive capabilities that you got here, the rim protection down low, especially if you decide to play Scotty Barnes at the 4. You have Maluwak in the pick and roll with playmakers like Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett, who do fare well going downhill off of the pick and roll and attacking the basket. You have him throwing lobs to Maluwak. You have him working off of the block where, he's improving a little bit. I mean, he's just your stereotypical anchor type of center down low. And I think that could really help them defensively, but also he would not get in the way of guys like Barrett and Barnes and Quickley on the offensive end. Number 10 with the Houston Rockets. This is kind of the first pick where I've been kind of going all over the place, right? I had Liam McNeely in our first NBA mock draft. I then switched to Nike Clifford. A couple of off-camera drafts, I've had them going with Colin Murray Boyles. But I'm going to go back to Nike Clifford at this pick. And I understand that it might be a little bit of a reach, but honestly, if you look at a lot of mock drafts, Nike Clifford is really just outside of that top 14. So, you're reaching 4 or 5 picks. That's not terrible here. And I honestly think that with a team like Houston, who was at the top of the West this year, obviously showcased some great talent, when you're still young like Houston is and you still need to continue to get experience, you need to draft guys that are going to plug in for you day one and be able to play day one. And a guy like Nike Clifford, I believe 4-year senior out of Colorado State, who is just overall great everywhere, especially in the shooting department where Houston really needs an upgrade. This is the guy that really will stay out of the way but be able to play a nice 3-and-D role for you. He won't get in the way of Dylan Brooks. He won't get in the way of Fred VanVleet. He won't get in the way of Jalen Green and Men Thompson and whatever. But he will be able to plug right in behind there, come off the bench, and just be a suitable, great defender for you. Be a guy that can shoot the 3 ball, be a guy that can work out of the post. He just does everything right. And he's going to have enough experience and be more of that veteran presence coming into that locker room and be able to go in and play right away. So I think that this is where Houston needs to work towards. Obviously, I think that maybe there's better value, Derek Queen, Colin Murray Boyles, maybe even Asa Newell or Noah Senge or whatnot. But for just to be safe and just to get you the best player day one for you at number 10, that's going to have almost little to no weakness, it's going to be Nike Clifford. You then have the Portland Trailblazers at number 11. Colin Murray Boyles has been my pick, and he's going to continue to be my pick likely. I just think that he slides in really well at that weak power forward position. You now have him, DeAndre Ayton, and Donovan Cleveland, all 3 of those guys down low. That's going to give you some amazing rim protection. He works in well with the guards that you have, like Anthony Simon, Shaedon Sharpe, and Scoot Henderson and whatnot, who are going to be attacking the rim. You would obviously like him to be able to improve that 3 ball so that you can push him to the outside. But as for right now, just being a suitable box power forward down low and his ability to play defense the way that he does, at 6'7", the dude's a dog, 100%. Chicago Bulls at 12, Derek Queen. Once again, this has been a pretty suitable pick, and it hurts me because when I started these mock draft episodes, I had Derek Queen ranging up, into the top 5. I believe the first mock draft we did, I had Derek Queen at number 5. I'm a really huge fan of Queen, but the problem for him is there's not really a lot of teams that really need center. Portland doesn't need center. Houston doesn't. I really do think that Toronto would value Maluwak's defense over Queen in this situation. Brooklyn doesn't. New Orleans not really. Washington, there's potential there, but I think that Sarr is better fit at the 5. And then I think 1 through 5, I just think that there's better prospects there. So unfortunately for Queen, he ends up falling to 12, but he's in a really great situation in Chicago, especially if they are able to get rid of Nikola Vucevic. He could be a big-time playmaker from that perimeter. He's a center that we've almost never seen before with his ability to handle the ball on the perimeter. If he can upgrade that shot and get better from behind the three-point line, he is going to be absolutely deadly. And once again, in Chicago, when you have playmakers, when you have guys that can pass and distribute the ball like Josh Giddey and like Kobe White, this is going to be a suitable guy to work within the pick and roll. Most of NBA offenses nowadays are used out of the pick and roll, and Queen, with his great athleticism, with his ability to roll off and make plays down low on the post, on the block, dude, he's going to be an offensive monster there for you. And just, again, if you can upgrade that three-point shot and maybe get a little bit more consistent on the defensive end, he's going to be a solid big man there. Number 13 for the Atlanta Hawks. Again, this has been a pick that I haven't really moved away from. So the lottery has stayed pretty consistent. And I know that Austin Newell has kind of been dropping down boards a little bit for a lot of people. A lot of people have him outside of the lottery as of right now. But again, I just think that this is a solid fit for Atlanta. They really need to deepen their front court, especially when they're relying heavily on the shoulders of Trae Young to move them offensively. So you need to do the best that you can to get him the best defensive front court that you can. And when you have Jalen Johnson, when you have Austin Newell, when you have Clint Capella, when you have the man that we're going to be getting for them in 9 picks, which we'll go ahead and see how that works out in a little bit, when you're able to build that front, that gives a lot more confidence to Trae Young and allows him to, at some moments, take plays off and allow him to go on the offensive end and just do what he does. And between him and Zachary Reese-Shea with their great playmaking, you have really great offensive options there in Atlanta. So I think for them, they just need to continue to bolster that front court and just, patch up those weaknesses that Trae Young has defensively and just crowd the paint and get you as much length as you can. Again, Newell, very similar prospect to Colin Murray-Boyles. They're almost twins with how similar they are. And you would like him to also be able to extend to the three-point line, but hopefully that's something that you can work on a little bit further. And then we move to number 14 with the San Antonio Spurs. And this was a pick, again, that I have been kind of going all over the place, kind of like the Houston Rockets pick. I had Liam McNeely a couple times. I think I had Nick Clifford in this as well. But somebody left a great comment on the last episode. And that was Thomas Schwarber to end up going to the Spurs. And I actually really like that pick for San Antonio. Schwarber here. Sorry, I almost called him Sherbert. Wow. 6'10", 7'6" wingspan, as you can see. Was unfortunately naggered by a season-ending foot injury this past season. But the dude just has a lot of really great length. He has some solid size to combine in there. And the dude is tough coming out of Georgetown. Is kind of similar to Kaman Maluwak, where he's able to work very well out of the pick and roll and get some vertical lob games there as well. But also is a solid rim protector down low that could, defend there. And especially, with the health of Wemby being kind of up in the air right now, with you not really knowing how that's going to go. But even if Wemby is active, you need somebody to be able to come in and back him up when he's off the court. And I think that Schwarber is just a solid center who's going to be able to work with their multitude of point guards out of the pick and roll, get to his spots, get to the block, be able to play defense down low and protect the rim. And it's all around just going to be a solid anchor for you in that backup lineup, which I think ends up working out for them beautifully there. Then you go for number 15 with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And for the life of me, I don't know how Sam Presti continues to do this. The Oklahoma State Thunder have 2 first-round picks this year, both 15 and 24. And honestly, I don't even know what to do because, all of these – I don't even think all of these guys are going to even manage to make the roster. Oklahoma City already has like a 10, 11-man lineup. Of course, they're in the NBA Finals as we speak. I'm not even sure if 2 more first-round picks would be able to make the roster. But because they're so deep – by the way, in combination to that 10, 11-man roster, they still have Nikola Topic, who they got with, I believe, the 14th pick last year, who hasn't even played a single game because he was hurt. So he's still in there. This is going to be his second year, technically rookie year coming in. And they need to find a way to work him in to potentially develop him. So unless they pull off a big-time trade, I don't know how much these first-round picks actually really matter for them. I would actually, probably bet that they're likely going to try and trade them for somebody big because I just don't see how any of these guys can really get some big-time playing time. But because we're not doing trades for this one, we still need to go through it. And so I'm just going to go with a guy that I think could just sit back for a couple of years and just develop. And that's Noah Asenge. You know, the Frenchman has a lot of really solid length, does a really good job on the defensive end to be able to get into the passing lanes and upset some passes. But as you can see, 6'9", exceptional length. Defensively, he's not great, and obviously, you know, shooting wise and whatnot, he's not there. But with the Oklahoma City roster that we have right now, he's going to have 3, 4, 5 years to be able to develop, honestly. Like, he's going to have time to work out all of this. He's going to be alongside some really great talent that's going to be able to mentor him and improve him a lot. Excuse me, sorry. And so he's going to be like the 13th man. He's going to have time to be able to develop. He doesn't have to play right away. And to be honest, I kind of compare him to somebody like a Tejan Salon, who's just an insane athlete, but not a good basketball player. So once you improve those basketball skills from him, his athleticism working into that, they're going to have a great wing core. And this is a guy that could definitely come in and back up J-Dub off the bench at that backup power forward position. Now, the Orlando Magic at 16. Now, this actually, Pro Football Sports Network hasn't actually updated this because the trade just happened earlier this morning. If you haven't heard Desmond Bane was traded to the Orlando Magic today for 4 first-round picks. So this is actually the Memphis Grizzlies pick, which actually changes a little bit for me because I actually have been doing draft picks with the Orlando Magic. So this is actually, I kind of have to think about this on the fly here. And now when I think of this roster, I mean, you now have Kentavious Caldwell-Pope coming to the Memphis Grizzlies. So, okay, it was Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. So I think that they would definitely have to look towards that shooting guard side. So honestly, I'm going to give them Jace Richardson. This was a guy that I had falling a little bit prior to this. I think I had him going to Oklahoma City at 24. But I think that Jace would be really solid in the shooting guard role. The dude rose up the ranks at Michigan State this year. Started as like a low bench player and was able to work his way to be one of, if not the top players at Michigan State. He shot great from the three-point line. He's a big time shooter. And again, is a guy that does not really need the ball in his hands. Could really just play that catch and shoot 3-and-D role. And so to plug him in, have him play against a guy like have him play behind a guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who has played in that position his entire career, that 3-and-D role. That could definitely be a good mentoring role for him here. He could work alongside John Morant. Could even have the ball in his hands at times, pairing in with guys like Triple J and whatnot. So I think that would be okay for Memphis. Just having his shooting on their side would definitely go ahead and help them. But just a reminder, number 16 overall is not the Orlando Magic. That is the Memphis Grizzlies now because they traded for Desmond Bane. So we move to number 17 with the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to have them going Liam McNeely at number 17 overall. I really just think that Minnesota needs to try their best this year to take as much weight off of the shoulders of Anthony Edwards as possible. Because I said this when they traded away Karl-Anthony Towns. Sure, you know, Randall and Gobert might be suitable down there in the front court, but at the end of the day, the offense is going to come down to the production of Anthony Edwards. And as we saw, as they begin to get in the later part of the playoffs, that just simply was enough. So you get a guy here in McNeely who is a knockdown shooter from the three-point line. He's a little bit green, is a little bit young, but is a really solid three-point shooter coming out of UConn. And so now you have Mike Conley, Dante DiVincenzo, you have Liam McNeely, you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker potentially, and then, of course, Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert all put on really solid performances within the playoffs. You also have Jay McDaniels in there as well. So you now have some really solid depth, and you now have some offense to go along with that. So now Anthony Edwards, when he's driving to the basket and when that paint is really collapsing, like Oklahoma City was able to do to him, he can now kick outside to Liam McNeely and be able to knock down that three. Then we move to the Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets at 18 and 19, respectively. And I think that both of these picks are going to be pretty consistent all around for both of them. I have them going both in a very similar situation. I'm going to have the Washington Wizards go with Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joe's, and then I'm going to have the Brooklyn Nets go ahead and take Danny Wolf out of Michigan. Now, when it pertains to Rasheer Fleming at 18, This dude is a stretch four, 100% a stretch four coming out of St. Joe's. And again, I think that really works to Washington's advantage because I think Alex Sarr, his best fit is to just be a big man that works along the block, works around the rim, is able to get lob dunks and shoot layups. I don't think that he's going to be somebody who consistently is going to be effective coming off the perimeter. I think that he's going to work well down low. So you have a guy like Rasheer Fleming. They drafted Concanopal earlier in this draft. You have Chris Middleton. You have Jordan Poole. You have Bub Carrington. You have Corey Kispert. You have so much shooting on your side now that you can just allow Sarr to sit down there. You could now run like a 4-out, 1-in, and you're going to have some great shooting ability coming out of there. When Jordan Poole is attacking the rim and the defense is collapsing, kick out to Rasheer Fleming, he's going to get that three-point shot. So I think overall, Washington upgrading their three-point look is just going to make for a much cleaner fit on the offensive end. And then Danny Wolf going to the Brooklyn Nets. I really like this for them for a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't know what really the state of Nick Claxton is right now in Brooklyn. There have been so many trade rumors coming from him. He has potentially been looking at going to the Los Angeles Lakers in a trade. So we don't really know what that's going to be. So Danny Wolf could potentially, if that trade ends up happening, could plug right in for Nick Claxton. Stands at 7 feet tall with a 7'2" wingspan. But similar to Derek Queen almost, Danny Wolf is more of that Nikola Jokic type built center where he is, a point center, right? He's able to handle the ball really well. He did it great within Michigan's system this year with the other 7-footer that they have. Can't remember that guy's name. I apologize for that, but was able to plug in really, really well into that system, playing that both, 7-foot pick and roll. And now you're going to have him and Jeremiah Fears in a pick and roll. How amazing could that work out? The three-point shooting from Danny Wolf is definitely going to be a positive as well. He can work around. He's very versatile offensively. And even if Nick Claxton does end up staying in, you could have Wolf on the perimeter at the power forward position, handling the basketball and getting it to Nick Claxton. You could run the Michigan offense where Nick Claxton is in the pick and roll with Danny Wolf, and Wolf is handling the basketball. And again, if Jeremiah Fears is able to develop his three-point shot, you could have Wolf handling the basketball and kicking out to Fears for the three-point shot. So it just makes you more versatile, makes you more unpredictable. And again, pick and roll is the heart and soul of the NBA right now. So the more that you can get more talented players involved with your pick and roll, the better that you're going to be. And I think that suits there at number 19. Then you have the Miami Heat at number 20. I think that they could also go in a lot of very different directions, honestly. I think that they could go guard, potentially point guard. Who does Tankathon have? I had Carter Bryant originally. Tankathon has Rasheer Fleming. CBS mock draft has Jace Richardson. That was also a pick that I had a little bit. Let's go ahead and look at the Miami Heat's roster. I apologize for this, but I always like to think these things through. And again, the Grizzlies trade kind of threw a wrench into what I already had suited. So right now they have Tyler Hero listed at point guard with Davion Mitchell. They have Terry Rozier. Obviously, they have Wiggins, Adebayo, Khalil Ware, Jovic. So I don't think that front court is really necessarily a need for them. I think that they would either go point guard or they would get some solid use off of the wing. Carter Bryant could be good, but he doesn't create a shot a lot. He's more of a good three-point shooter. Maybe somebody like a Noah Penda, but he's pretty just defensively sided. I'm also looking at Igor Demin a lot as well. Big point guard, obviously. I'm going to go with Carter Bryant. And the reason is because I think during the playoffs in that playing game, I think that we saw Davion Mitchell and Tyler Hero take a multitude of handling the offense. So I don't think that you shouldn't, take it out of your playmaker's hands. And I think that Hero does fit well in a system where the ball is in his hands and he's making tough shots. So I don't think that a point guard would really benefit you. While I do think that it is potentially a need, I think that you should get more of a 3-and-D type guy like Carter Bryant who can shoot the three, solid athleticism, and can just grow with the group that you have. It does kind of suck because they have so many small forwards. They have Hawkes, they have Jovic, so you want to start working those guys in, but they're slowly getting some really, really great depth. And we've seen a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder have a lot of wing depth coming off. Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Kyrick Williams, Casey Wallace at certain times. So we've seen teams work with like 3 or 4 shooting guards, small forwards coming off the bench. So I think that this could really work for them and just continue to improve that 3-point shooting next to Duncan Robinson. And you don't take the ball out of the hands of Mitchell or Tyler Hero. 21, the Utah Jazz return. Point guard was in consideration for me earlier on in the first round. Obviously, we had them going with Ace Bailey. I also had them going with Derek Queen in past drafts. But I think, honestly, with the value that you have here, you have to go with somebody like Nolan Traore. On Pro Football and Sports Network, they have him ranked as the 11th ranked prospect within this draft. He's a little bit taller, yes. Oh, no, he only sits at 6'3". I thought he was 6'5" for some reason. I really, really apologize. But I think with Traore, he showcases some real flashes of some really great playmaking. He's kind of your everyday, European point guard where he's able to work well at the pick and roll, distribute to his teammates. Obviously, has to work on things offensively, like his 3-point shot and defensively and whatnot. But overall, now with the Jazz in this situation, they have Ace Bailey, they have Lauri Markkanen. Obviously, you have Colin Sexton, who is more of a scoring guard than he is a playmaking point guard. So you have potentially your offensive guys on your board. So getting a guy like Nolan Traore that could just go out and distribute, that could be a solid pick for them right there as well. And again, pick and roll, pairing in with Walker Kessler, also pairing into the pick and fade with Lauri Markkanen, could be good right there. We return to the Atlanta Hawks at number 22, and like I said, 9 picks later, they end up getting another front court big-time anchor in Ryan Kalbrenner out of Creighton. This, I know he's 7 feet tall, 7'1". And again, just another really great anchored defensive center that's not going to, do a lot in terms of, showing flashes from behind the three-point line and whatnot, but it's just going to be a really great rim protector down below. Can play, replace in for Clint Capella when Capella is off the bench, and, do a solid job rim running with the athleticism that he has in there, playing the pick and roll and whatnot, and just continue to improve your depth within the front court. Number 23 for the Indiana Pacers. This is also a very, very interesting pick. I think you could go in a lot of different directions. I think that you could go backup center. I think that you could go wing. I think that you could even go backup point guard potentially. So maybe a guy like Igor Demon is in play. Tankathon has Cedric Coward going at 23. CBS Montreal has Asa Duo falling all the way down. Very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and check out this Pacers depth chart that they have listed as well. So you have Tyrese Halliburton, TJ McConnell. They do have just so much depth at that shooting guard position. Center is really the big time need for them. The problem is there's not really a lot of great centers available. You have Roko Zikarsky from Australia. With elite size mobility and rim protecting instincts, his draft has somewhat cooled recently due to a knee injury that caused NBL short. Zikarsky presents as a natural lob threat, pick and roll presence, and shot blocker. Well, need to demonstrate significant guard but as an impactful big man at the next level. 7'3". A lot of these big men that are like over 7'2" don't normally get a lot of big time attention in the first round. I feel like. There's also a guy like a Deuce Thiero, but they just don't need wing. Like they don't need any more wings whatsoever. And you have TJ McConnell has been good. We're gonna go with Rocco. We're gonna go back-to-back center. I know that it might not be great value, might not make a ton of sense. I could definitely see somebody like a Will Riley, a Cedric Coward, a Hugo Gonzalez, a Jameer Watkins, or something like that going here. Chaz Lanier at 31. You have Drake Powell from North Carolina. But I don't think that they need any more wings. They have Nembhard, they have Mathurin, they have Ben Shepherd, they have Nesmith, they have Obi Toppin, they have Walker and whatnot. Like they just have so much within that front court at the wing position that I just don't think that you need to improve it anymore. And you really do need to get somebody to back up Miles Turner. There's really no backup for him right now at the center position. So you get yourself a 7'3" guy. Again, works in the pick and roll with Hallie. Can protect the rim at 7'3". I think that should honestly be fine for them right there. Oklahoma City back at number 24. Again, I don't know what to do here because I just don't know. I don't know if any of these players are going to play. Like even like an Igor Demon would not play right now on Oklahoma City's roster. A Will Riley would not play. Let's also see who they have here. See, they have center. They have center. CBS has Coward. I kind of like Coward, Cedric Coward here. I also kind of like wing. What do team needs have? Center, big shooting, guard playmaking, forward shooting. Janai Broom just really doesn't move me here. But he could be a seasoned big man. You also go maybe for someone like a Walter Clayton. There's also a Dew. Coach Calipari has had a first-round pick for like the last 9 years, I believe. But they basically got like a similar player with Noah Senge. Do we go back to back centers here? No, I'm gonna go Cedric Coward. I could see Indiana and OKC switching picks. So potentially Cedric going to Indiana and then OKC going to or Rocco going to OKC, because I think that's definitely a need that both of them could fill. But Coward is one of the more interesting guys because if you don't know his story, he started off at a Division III, transferred over to Washington State, had a really big time season for Washington State over the first couple of games, and then ended up suffering a season-ending injury. Ends up going to the NBA Combine, and since then he has completely raised his draft profile. And I think for OKC overall, I mean, more depth is not going to hurt you. Again, I really do wish that other teams were picking here, because I just don't know how Cedric and Noah end up making the roster. I just don't get it. This is now 12, 13 players. They're really teetering at the end. So I'm hoping that Cedric ends up needing to play. But for a guy who hasn't played in a long time, and again is going to just need that work to work himself back into the routine, be able to, heighten up some of his weaknesses and whatnot. He's going to have all the time in the world. So I do kind of like Oklahoma City going out and getting more developmental prospects over the next couple of years to go ahead and develop. Orlando Magic at 25. This is actually Orlando's draft pick, I believe, right? I know Tankathon has it updated. Yeah, so this is actually Orlando's draft pick. And I think it's Igor Demon. I had Demon going to them at 16. He ends up falling to 25 in this draft. I definitely could see him being picked earlier. But for me, again, Orlando just they need a point guard. They need a true point guard. They need a real true point guard that's just going to be able to distribute the basketball. That's where Demon goes best. And especially if you can get somebody who's 6 feet 9 inches tall with the wingspan that he has, that would be amazing. And you now have another scoring shooting guard in Bane there. So just get a guy that could run your offense that's just going to be passing the ball all day and getting all those assists. Demon could definitely work in there. He could play as like an Elfrid Payton type of guy, play solid defense, and just pass the basketball. It doesn't need to be, sexy offensively, shooting three-pointers and whatnot. Just get it to Banchero. Just get it to Wagner. Just get it to Desmond Bane now. And he's going to end up working out. So I like this pick. Just get yourself some length. And especially with Anthony Black still looking like he needs years and years to continue to develop, get Demon. Get yourself a true point guard, and then you could bring Black off the bench. You could bring Jalen Suggs off the bench and play those guys behind, where I think that they would suit well in a bench role. 26 and 27, respectively, for the Nets. They have 4 first-round picks, I just realized. So we have Wolf. We have Fears going to them. I'm going to first give them Will Riley. I think that he's a suitable shooting guard that can shoot the three really well. And then at 27, I do like the idea of giving them a backup point guard like a Cam Jones, but you do still have D'Angelo Russell, which you have to put into consideration, and you do have Cam Thomas. So I'm actually going to give them Drake Powell. I'm going to give them Drake Powell at 27. Again, just another 3-and-D guy coming out of North Carolina. And now you have Jeremiah Fears, you have Will Riley, you have Cam Thomas, you have Drake Powell, you have Danny Wolf, you have D'Angelo Russell there. You still have Noah Clowney on that roster. You still have Cameron Johnson, who, he may or may not be traded. Even if he is traded, get really great value. So slowly but surely, building your lineup, building your young core, and doing what NBA teams are suitable to right now, which is just shooting the three. So Riley and Drake Powell add some nice three-point shooting to that side, back-to-back. And I think that this would be a really, really great night for Brooklyn. 28 for Boston. They need a big. They 100% need a big. They're going to go with Janai Broom. Again, 4-year, very, very experienced, seasoned vet that could plug in right away, especially when Porzingis is hurt, or even when you play Porzingis at the power forward position. So he's just going to add depth there, get you some solid rim protection, give you some good work off of the block, play next to Luke Kornet as well. play out of the pick and roll. I think that that's solid right there. 29 for the Phoenix Suns, especially with them potentially trading away Kevin Durant. We don't know where Bradley Beal is going to be in this, but it's likely he's not going to be on the roster as well. It's very clear that they're building around Devin Booker. And so I think that you need to go out, get a point guard. And I think that's going to be Walter Clayton Jr., one of the best, if not the best point guard in college basketball of this past season. The dude is electric. He's really solid offensively, can handle the ball well, shoots really well, makes big-time plays to show up. And now you can move Booker to more of a bigger 2 role where he's kind of just scoring the basketball. So I think that 1-2 tandem there could work. And then finally, at number 30 with the LA Clippers, I think that there are a ton of still great prospects on this board. I think that Ben Sarath is great. I think that Cam Jones is great. I think that Noah Penda, not Hugo Gonzalez, but Adu Thiero. I think if you go down, there's Mark Sears, RJ Lewis. I think that there's still a lot of really great prospects, which is going to make this second round really, really interesting in this year's draft. But I think I'm going to go ahead and give them Cam Jones. 6'5", is great defensively, is just a competitor, is super, super hungry. And so there you go, show the full results. Super, super hungry, very, very competitive. Could play well next to Harden and Leonard, add in some defensive capabilities right there. Could even score well for you. So if you want Harden to just be distributing the ball, he could play that role, and then Jones just ends up scoring for you as well. But there it is. That's my full first-round mock draft, the first 1 through 30 that we've done on this channel. And I honestly don't think that it went really that bad. Flagg, Harper, Edgecombe, Johnson, Bailey, Knopel, Jack Junis, Fears, Malawak, Clifford, Boyles, Queen, Newell, Sorber, Esenge, Richardson, McNeely, Fleming, Danny Wolf, Bryant, Traore, Kalkbrenner, Sikorsky, Coward, Demon, Riley, Powell, Broom, Clayton Jr., and Cam Jones. If there was a couple things that I would be questioning, maybe Carter Bryant at 20. They could potentially go for a more natural point guard. 23 and 24, I think that you could swap them, but I think that this is natural as well. What else? I think that that's kind of it. Everything else kind of seems plain and simple. Maybe Nick Clifford doesn't go at 10, so maybe he falls just outside, and maybe somebody like OKC would fall in with him, which would be absolutely ridiculous. But this is the mock draft, guys. This is the full first-round mock draft. So let me down below what you guys think of this. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What do you guys think is going to happen? Who do you want your favorite team to pick? Who is one of your favorite prospects in this draft? Give me a full first-round mock draft if you want to down below. Just let me know any of that down below in the comments, as well as subscribing, liking the video, and sharing with your friends. And, of course, always following those social medias. All of those ads are in the description below, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Guys, I'm telling you, there's going to be so much content coming out this summer, so make sure to go out and subscribe and follow those social medias. It's going to be very, very important. And without further ado, guys, I think that that's all from me today. Again, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. I hope that you guys are having an amazing weekend. I hope that you guys are having an amazing Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of you out there, all that are celebrating. God bless all of you. And without further ado, I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.